Here we are. Very good. Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Nice to see you. I hope you're enjoying the heat wave as well as the retreat. So, welcome to our last full day of the retreat. Can we be on gallery view so that I can see people? Nice to see you. Who have we got? There's Bernadette. Hello, Bernadette. And Greg. And Nayadeepa. Hello, Nayadeepa. And Veronica and Sue. And I hope you, I hope you've really got something from the retreat. Very nice to see you all on this last day. We're going to have a bit of a different day today, as you probably know. And Maitreyabandhu, hopefully you tuned in to the 8 o'clock with Maitreyabandhu, and we're going to be sort of continuing something that he started. Don't worry if you didn't tune in, but that's what I'm going to be doing today. So in a moment we'll be going live properly. Oh, yeah, it's 10 o'clock. So, yes, so look, welcome everybody. Welcome officially, as it were, to this 10 o'clock slot on our last day. So before I start speaking properly, I'll just remind you of the links that will appear at 11 o'clock. And if you're from Sheffield or Cambridge or Brixton or Dublin, then you need to press that link at 11 o'clock in order to go into your local Sangha breakout groups. And if you're with the LPC, you just stay put and you'll be allocated. So we'll be finishing just before 11 o'clock. So hopefully you'll have time to do that and find your way into the breakout group. So yes, so today I want us to, we've been doing this whole thing of samadhi and prajna in this 10 o'clock slot. And today we're going to take a different approach. We're going to, in a way, this whole day is devoted to the imagination. And we're going to have an imaginal meditation, a meditation which takes us into the presence of the Buddha, using our imaginal faculty, using our imagination. And this is, I think it's an approach that combines samadhi and prajna. The imaginal faculty, as Bhante calls it, or the imagination, isn't merely fantasy. You know, when we think of, well, the word imagination in our ordinary kind of language has got debased into just meaning something fantastical, fantasy, something that's not true. It's imaginary. Whereas how Bhante Sangharashvata uses the word is more in the way that the 19th century romantic poets used it, and it's like it's a whole faculty. It's the whole of us. It includes our reason. It includes our emotion. It includes our intuition. It goes beyond any of those individually. It's the whole heart and mind and will in operation. And it's that faculty that is said to apprehend the truth. In a way, it's that faculty that will lead to prajna, to seeing things as they really are. We do need our reason, and we need positive emotion, as we've been emphasizing. We need metta. But in a way, metta isn't enough on its own, and in a way, reason definitely isn't enough on its own. They need to come together, which is, I guess, what happens sometimes in samadhi, in states of integration. They need to come together, but they need to also be transcended by a synthesis that's a higher synthesis, a faculty that transcends our ordinary way of perceiving. It's a heightened faculty. And that's, by Bhante, been called the imagination. Traditionally, you could call it Shraddha, or Shraddha and the imagination with this capital I are I think, very similar, if not synonymous. Shraddha is, in Buddhism, it's often translated as faith. I prefer to leave it untranslated, just as we've been trying to leave prajna untranslated and metta untranslated. Shraddha is this response that we have to something higher. Bhante, in one of his aphorisms, said that Shraddha is what is ultimate in us, responding to what is ultimate in the universe. It's the highest in us, responding to what is highest in the universe. It's a faculty that is natural to us. It's not something that you have to add on. Consciousness, human consciousness, has Shraddha sort of built in, which isn't a great way of putting it, but it's innate. So, for example, when we respond to beauty, like many of you have been posting these lovely photographs of moments of beauty, particularly in Ireland, but not just in Ireland. Even in Bethnal Green, there's been some moments of beauty. And our response to beauty, we don't have to be taught that. That's innate in human consciousness. A child, a toddler, can respond to beauty. I can remember taking my nephew out for a walk when he was a toddler, and he'd just sort of learned to walk, and he'd be holding my finger, and we'd be walking along the pavement. I used to live in North London, not such a beautiful place, and he'd suddenly pause, and there'd be a leaf on the ground, and it'd be like amazing. We'd have to pause, he'd have to bend down, we'd have to talk about the leaf, we'd have to look at this leaf. This faculty of wonder, of beauty, is there actually more sometimes in children than it is in adults. It's almost like in adults we cover it over so often with cynicism and with other negative emotions, cynicism being a very, very corrosive one. And sometimes as adults, it's almost like we have to relearn, uncover, discover again this faculty for appreciating beauty. And particularly, I don't know, maybe it's just London, but maybe it's our sort of postmodern Western age. Beauty is quite unfashionable now. I'm really glad that we had on the Slack Lounge this Moments of Beauty channel, this room. I remember when we were building Vajrasana, or when we were having Vajrasana built, and we commissioned these architects, and we had a little brief. And in the brief, we said that we wanted the retreat center to be beautiful. And the architects afterwards told us that that was so unusual. It was such an unusual thing for a client to ask for a space that was beautiful. It was really not fashionable. Anyway, I use that just as an illustration of how in our modern life, we don't necessarily give sufficient value to beauty. But of course, if you start to meditate, beauty opens up, doesn't it? It's everywhere, potentially everywhere, not just when you're by the sea and up a mountain, but potentially in every leaf, in every person you meet. It's potentially there. Now, this faculty that we have to respond to beauty is akin to Shraddha. It's an example of our responding to something higher. Shraddha is a bit more than that. Shraddha includes not just a response to beauty, but it also includes a response to truth, to value. When we encounter something true and real and valuable, whether that's in another person, in a generous act, in a truthful act, or whether it's in an idea or a concept or something that happens to us in our meditation, when we encounter something true, The heart responds. It knows it's true. It knows that this is of meaning, of significance. That's Shraddha in operation. Shraddha responds to the true and the beautiful, and also, of course, in that triad from ancient Greece, it responds to the good. It responds to kindness. It responds to virtue wherever we encounter it. Again, cynicism so often covers that over, but that covering is often paper thin. The real response of the heart, it doesn't really. It can be covered over, but you can't completely crush it. You can wake it up. You can give it water, and it'll flower again. So our response to truth, to beauty, to goodness, to value and meaning wherever we find it is Shraddha. And in Buddhism, as a Buddhist, the Buddha becomes the embodiment of all of that. In a single image, the Buddha becomes an embodiment of that. In a way, Buddhism sees not just the Buddha, but the Dharma as also a jewel. The teaching of the Buddha becomes a source of Shraddha, an object of Shraddha, I mean, and of course the Sangha. But today I want to focus on the Buddha jewel and the Buddha as an embodiment of all that we in life regard as true and good and beautiful. The Buddha actually takes what we can imagine as true and beautiful and good and then transcends it, I want to touch on that transcendental, what that transcendental realization might mean. I'm not going to be able to do it justice. I want to touch on it, and then we'll meditate for a bit longer, perhaps. So it's really important to recognize that the Buddha wasn't just a good man. He wasn't just a wise man. He wasn't just a sort of noble human hero like, I don't know, Nelson Mandela might be, or Socrates might have been. The Buddha had a transcendental realization, and that's what we go for refuge to, because that transcendental realization is a potential for us. And Shraddha, as I've been talking about it, ultimately is pointing to that transcendental realization. What I mean by transcendental realization is that in human consciousness, there's, at the deepest level perhaps, this is just a metaphor of talking, a way of talking, but at the deepest level of consciousness, there's no real separation between self and other. There's no real sense that the consciousness is me or mine. And there's no real sense that the other person or the object of consciousness is separate. Buddhism talks about non-dual consciousness, another way of talking about transcendental consciousness. We transcend the very notion of separate selfhood and separate world. There is just a seamless field of awareness in which there is experience arising. Some of that experience feels like it's happening inside, and some of it feels like it's happening outside. But actually, it's just a seamless field of experience. And it's said that it's said that in that transcendental realization, in that transcendental awareness, which is very natural, we realize that we've got it wrong. When we touch on that transcendental awareness, that non-dual awareness, we realize that our normal way of perceiving, our normal sense that there's a real me in that's separate from you, and separate from the world, that's a delusion. We really see that we've got it the wrong way round. Like Maitreyabandhu sometimes said, it's like looking through a telescope from the wrong end, and then somebody just turns it around and you think, aha, that's what a telescope was for. It's like we've got the wrong eyes, and then suddenly we see with the right eyes. I'm short-sighted, and every so often when, every few years, my eyes get worse, and I go to the optician and they give me a new pair of lenses, contact lenses, and suddenly everything's vivid again. And I'd forgotten that the colors had dulled. It's a bit like that. From the perspective of the Buddha, we've got it all very wrong. It's not just from the perspective of the Buddha, it's from the perspective of what is deepest in our own minds. We've got it very wrong. So Shraddha somewhere intuits that we've got it very wrong. Shraddha, if we listen and we uncover the sort of coverings of cynicism and hard-heartedness, if we uncover Shraddha, what we find is an intuitive response to the truth, a sense that there is more. Sometimes it's a really inchoate response that, there should be more, there is more to life. That's our initial response to this transcendental realization, that there's more. There's more to us, there's more to life, there's more to being human. And the whole of the Buddhist path is pointing in this direction. We start from this urge for more. We start practicing, and what we find is, yes, we grow, and there is more. Some of you have been having expansive experiences, states of heart and mind that are opening up and expansive. Many of you I know have been having those. In fact, probably all of you have to some degree. That's saying that, look, your intuition about there being more is true. There is more. There is more to you. There is more to me. There's more to all of human consciousness. That gives you more confidence. When you start experiencing for yourself that there's more, I don't know, we just become a little bit more confident that what the Buddha taught might be true. We might not have experienced enlightenment. I haven't experienced full, perfect enlightenment. It's a long, long way away for me, it seems. And yet I've had enough experiences of the more to know that the Buddha's teaching is true. Yeah. So it gives you confidence. So Shraddha isn't like blind faith. You use your intuition, and then you take a step and you experience for yourself that, yes, there's more. And if that gives you more confidence, then you carry on the path. Yeah, you carry on the path. And then that confidence, that trust, hopefully grows. And we also use our reason. So tonight, when I'll be talking about the final sort of chapter in our sort of series of stories about Milarepa. If you were tuning in last night to Gauravati, she left us on a cliffhanger, and I'll be picking up from there. And I'll be talking about how we do need to use our reason as well. It's not just that Buddhism is asking us to leave our reason behind and abandon logic and abandon our rational faculty. It's saying, no, use that as well. And if you use it, if you really think, if you really use your reason and look at experience, what reason will point to is a more. Even reason will say that there's something more. But I'll perhaps say more about that tonight. So Shraddha is, it's like the prefiguration of prajna. It's this response to value, to truth, to goodness, to beauty. It's a response even above that to a transcendental realm that we sometimes intuit. And that response, if we follow that response, and we follow the path, that's what leads us to prajna, to wisdom, to realization for ourselves of the truth of the Dharma. So sometimes what I find helpful is to, in a way, not try and think my way to the truth, to these teachings, although, as I say, reason is important. It's very helpful to have an image that embodies all of these teachings, all of these values, and all we do is we open up to that image. That image can start to speak to us. And in Buddhism, the classic image is the image of the Buddha himself. So we haven't got the historical Buddha, but we have images of the Buddha that are mythical, archetypal images. So the Buddha, the huge golden Buddha Rupa behind me, is an image of not the historical man, it's an image of what enlightenment looks like if it was personified. It's an image of what our own potential looks like if it was personified. It would be golden, it would be radiant, it would be completely poised, utterly imperturbable. It would be radiating awareness and love, and strength and energy and a sense of wisdom, really, a sense of truth. It's an image that can sometimes speak to us, evoke these qualities in our own experience. That's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be visualizing, imagining the Buddha in our meditation. We're going to be imagining that we're in the presence of the Buddha. And I just want to repeat that this imagination isn't just a fantasy. It's more than, obviously it's not literal, but potentially it's opening us up to the enlightened mind, the real Buddha, who is neither really out there or neither really just in here, but is transcending both within and without, subject and object. The imagination can open us up to that. Yeah? So what we'll do is I'll lead us in this visualization. I'll lead us in a little bit of a body awareness, and then I'll lead us on a journey where we encounter the Buddha and we feel his presence, we feel his blessings, and we open up to his wisdom, his wisdom and his love. We open up to enlightened qualities through the image of the Buddha, through the Buddha himself. Okay, so let's, if you're willing to give that a go, I'd invite you to set yourself up in your meditation posture. Good. So we'll be sitting for about 35 minutes. Making sure you're comfortable. And seeing if you can just become aware of the sounds you can hear around you. So starting with a broad awareness of your surroundings, the sound of my voice, but any other sounds you can hear. And see if you can become aware of sound without any labeling or conceptualizing. No stories, just sound. And then bringing awareness into the body, the ground beneath you, the chair or the cushion beneath your seat. The warmth of the surroundings, the warmth of your body. And see if you can allow the body to soften into the warmth. Softening the face, and the shoulders, softening in the legs, imagining the legs being heavy and soft. Really giving your weight to the ground through the legs, through the feet, through the sitting bones. Letting the hands be soft and open and heavy. And imagining the belly softening. At the same time, having a sense of uprightness in the upper body. A gentle lift from the crown of your head. So there's a sense of vitality, of energy in the body. See if you can feel the energy in the body. Perhaps a sense of tingling. And see if you can let the heart also be soft and open. And imagining ourselves in a vast forest, full of beautiful, majestic trees, and soft earth beneath us. We can hear birdsong as we walk through the trees. Above us, we can glimpse through the trees a clear blue sky. And ahead of us, through the trees, we glimpse light coming from a glade in the forest, a clearing. And we move towards it, we walk towards it. And we emerge into a beautiful meadow. A large glade in the forest, full of wild flowers of all colours. And in the middle of the meadow, a magnificent, enormous tree, majestically rising up, and spreading a canopy of branches and leaves. Creating a cool shade. And at the foot of the tree, the radiant figure of the Buddha, sitting in meditation. completely still. Yet radiating vitality, energy, and love. We sit down, mesmerized by this figure in front of us, by his beautiful presence. Gazing at him. He's surrounded by an aura of golden light. And as we sit before him, we see from his heart center, in the center of his chest, rays of golden light streaming out towards us, entering our own hearts, filling us with bliss. The light of the enlightened heart, the enlightened mind, the golden light. Of unfathomable peace, of boundless freedom, of limitless love. Enters into our hearts and into our bodies. And we sit absorbing its effects and feeling transformed. So just sitting in the presence of the Buddha. opening up to the light. Not only are we aware of the Buddha, but he is aware of us. He sees us completely, fully, deeply, with love. And if you find yourself distracted, that's okay, just come back. If you find yourself not being able to see anything, that's okay. That doesn't matter. Just opening up to the presence of the Buddha. However he appears or doesn't appear. Feeling confident that the presence of the enlightened mind, his enlightened mind, is there if we open to it. Sitting in his presence. And if you want to, you can ask the Buddha for a teaching just for you. And then be open to a response. And the golden light fills our whole body, transforming us. Of all of our craving and hatred, and opening us up to wisdom. We feel completely purified. And the vision begins to fade. The image of the Buddha dissolves into light. The tree, the forest, all dissolve. The meadow. And we sit, absorbing the effects of the practice, just sitting. So taking your time to come out of the meditation, not rushing. Good. So we've still got a moment or two, but you could start, if you're with the Sheffield, Dublin, Brixton or Cambridge Sanghas, you could start, Guillaume is going to post the links that you need to press. There's no rush, you can take your time. And if you're with the LBC Sangha, you can just wait, and in a couple of minutes you'll be posted into a breakout group. And I just want to say well done for staying with it. Thank you very, very much. Lovely to see you all. And this afternoon we've got various activities on your program, including a drawing workshop with Tusla Sara. And then I'll see you later on this evening at 7 o'clock for our last evening together. And tonight we'll be doing a special concluding, as it were, last evening puja. So we'll be there for a bit longer tonight, till about 9:30 or so. See you soon.